Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Friday the 13th. Is it going to be a good day? Bad day? Who knows? But we got lots to talk about today. China says nope. Coinbase playing around with meme coins. What the? Bitcoin to 160K. Oh, man. Yeah, man. I like those titles, man. They kind of get my attention. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? So today, what we're talking about is pretty much what the title says, but we're going to be having a look at what's going on in good old crypto. I'm seeing some very interesting behavior. I had myself a relatively good night's sleep. Didn't trade Asia, and I'm glad I didn't because nothing really happened. Then again, we saw a little bit of movement, but nonetheless, going into the markets, we got some interesting flavor with Broadcom. So they've been hyping everyone up, especially with NVIDIA and all the AMD gang as well. But more importantly, this is the last trading day until, or should I say, the calm before the storm. We're going into FOMC next week, guys. We got manufacturing data coming out. We got the Bank of Japan. We're going into the end of the year. It's going to be a bloody interesting week next week. I will tell you that, you know. So what we're going to do is going to break everything down for you. Going to give you an overview of what's going on in the marketplace. We're going to find out what's happening with the euro. We're going to find out what's going on with gold. We're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and all the other fun and games that we do in this live stream. I'll take some questions as well. Proper questions. Nothing about women's foreheads. Where is that guy? And I always end up reading that question. I'm not going to read it anymore. No, because you always catch me out with that. Ask good questions. Something to do with the hybrid system, like, or something to do with anything, just trading, like, you know, ask something, just not. Anyways. So we get the party started off with this bad boy right here. So we've got hype again in the AI markets, and that is naturally going to be leading the markets to effectively rally on the back of that. But we've got a bit of a problem. China's not really grabbing investors' attention. And an article was pushed out earlier on today suggesting that with these tariffs that Trump's going to put out to everyone, especially in the Eurozone, the actual German economy, what is going on here? The actual German economy is looking to be going lower if these tariffs do actually come into play. Okay? So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Trump really is going to show some leniency when it comes to these tariffs. We know one thing for sure, that there's not going to be any leniency when it comes to China. So Trump sends Xi Jinping, am I saying his name properly? Yeah, Xi Jinping. He sends him an invitation to his inauguration. Yeah, he says, nope, it ain't happening, which is pretty, I mean, look, this guy is effectively going to be taxing this nation, okay? He's going to be making them pay, right? He can't be seen going to that. Even though he should, he can't be seen going to it. Because that's pretty much saying, no problem, Trump. Give me your tariffs, baby. That's exactly what that is saying. This could be the start of something, all right? Now, if Trump were to just step back a little bit on the tariffs, which I don't think he will, you got to understand, China's part of the BRICS, okay? So you already sent a warning out to them. Try anything. Try to undermine the dollar. You're going to get 100% tariffs. So China's technically got 10% already, right? With another 100 on top as part of BRICS. So China's doing very well. 110%. That's what Trump's about. He wants to make sure that the dollar's doing well, you know? So it's very interesting to see how this will actually unfold. Going into the calendar today, we don't really have anything to be worried about in terms of news. We just have the pound itself with its gross domestic product. However, that came in today showing that the UK's economy unexpectedly shrank. Now, you've got the three main powers, the Eurozone, the UK, and then, of course, the US. Principle has it that whenever something happens in the Eurozone, it usually happens in the UK, and it tends to mimic and go over to the US. They usually work in tandem at times. All right? Euro's cutting its interest rates, the pound is cutting its interest rates, and then, of course, the Federal Reserve is cutting its interest rates. All of a sudden, the UK's economy has unexpectedly shrunk. So is that going to be then mimicked in the US? But the US economy is pumping. That's the issue that we've got right now. So again, remember the US economy, or should I say, the world's liquidity is in the US. Everyone's moaning about monopoly of Nvidia. Bro, the US is the monopoly. Because everyone in the Eurozone wants to go and get their money in the US. Anyone in the UK wants to get their money in the US. UK is now getting closer and closer to becoming the second largest holder of US debt. It's creeping up there with China because China's second, Japan is first. But it's getting very, very close to coming into the second largest holder of US debt. Now, with other news going across the board, you can see here Russia's near deals with it's trying to do dealings with Syria. That might bring a little bit of attention across the board, but Russia seems to be doing this all the time. I'm not too concerned about it. He throws the idea of nukes and what have you. But because they have so much commitment with US dollars, their money's tied up in the dollars, man. That's why I don't think we'll ever go into an all-out mad war, because they like the color of money and they're not going to compromise that, are they? Unless you've got an absolute madman, then it's very unlikely that that's going to be the case. Why do you think he's invading Ukraine? Okay, he's invading Ukraine because he just wants Ukraine. He wants to take on Ukraine. He believes that it's part of Russia. It should be, and whatever it is. But then you've got the US supplying, and now some of that funding is going to get clawed back. So it's, quite frankly, any news about Russia, it doesn't really alarm the markets at all. This is just small talk, in my honest opinion. Speaking of which, something has caught my attention, courtesy of the the Coinbase letter. Check this out. It says here that corporate executives are now selling their stock at record levels, with the ratio of sellers to buyers hitting 6x. Why are insiders cashing out? Because people are buying. Only retail will buy at these wild premiums. We can only justify that with the smart money, dumb money ratio index itself. Look. Smart money, dumb money. Look at it. It's going up. It doesn't make sense. All right. But we aren't at the full extremes, but smart money is still selling. Look, it's come down and the smart money is at an extreme, but retail is not just there yet. Okay. But it's trading towards that region. So when the blue line keeps going down, that suggests that smart money is selling. Then that would then back up the idea that insiders are cashing out. So when you're witnessing assets appreciating across the board, you really want to be looking for volume when it comes to that. So bringing it up to the NASDAQ and the S&P, you can see here that yesterday, we had 3 distribution days build up on the NASDAQ and 3 on the S&P. What's a distribution day? Distribution day is seen as institutional selling, okay? Now, when we actually open the chart up to have a look at what's going on in terms of volume and what have you, we bring up the NASDAQ composite and we can see that volume is above average. Look, it's at the highs and volume is above average, but it's negative. It's a distribution. Okay, so this is for the daily and this was yesterday and it's now clocked its 3rd day, which means that if you start seeing a succession of high pressurized selling at the highs, it can lead to a compromise in the market's rally. So you've got to take that into consideration when you are thinking about buying stock, because everyone is all pumped right now about the markets going higher. Checking out the S&P itself, we can see that the S&P 500 is also coming in line with a bit of selling, but it's had 3 days of distribution, but it looks like it finished yesterday with very low volume, which is not too bad. It's below average, so they weren't really selling as much, all right? But it's still above that 6,000 zone, which is very, very good for the S&P and for the NASDAQ, given that when we're going now into the FOMC press conference next week, which is going to be on the 18th of December, and then you've got the Bank of Japan press conference coming into play the next day. Now, what's going on in the realm of cryptocurrency, ladies and gentlemen? So news that's currently hit cryptocurrency is this. Bitcoin's going to hit 160K by 2025. Yes, sir. Matrix Port is now coming out with the projection. Cool. By 2025. So that fundamentally means in 2 weeks' time, Bitcoin's going to hit 160K. 2 weeks. Yeah, man. That will be absolutely wild. It says here, Bitcoin expected to hit $160,000 by 2025, driven by demand for the ETFs and other factors. Let me explain something. BlackRock has been busy. That's now at 530. It was originally at 500, no, 495 towards the start of the week. Now it's managed to get up to 530,000. Investors are coming into the ETF, okay? The ETF is cheap in principle. Now, with that being said, what you've got to understand is futures volume outweighs the ETFs completely because you've got leverage, right? Even though it's not fake money, but it's matched orders, okay? It's order book plays. And futures volume tends to dictate usually where Bitcoin's price is more than likely going to go. That's why everyone pays attention to what's going on with the liquidations. You can see liquidations here on Bitcoin. Total market liquidation is 102 million. And that's split on longs being wrecked at 12,800,000 in the last 24 hours and shorts being wrecked at 5.86 million, right? Going into the order flow as such, you've got to say to yourself, okay, then how likely is Bitcoin's price in principle, right? How likely is Bitcoin's price going to succeed and go to 160K by 2025? Well, the problem that we've got is the ETF represents the idea that people are buying, but futures volume, because there's liquidity all over the place, it can go up, it can shoot down, it can shoot back up again. So you're going to see a lot of volatility before Bitcoin actually proclaims that point. Going over into Bitcoin's price action right now, you can see that it's trading sideways and it's going to make another big 60% jump in 2 weeks' time. Wow, what a wild move that they're calling for, okay? So you just got to be very mindful that we're going into FOMC next week. And I don't think Bitcoin could actually make a significant move. I hope it does, whether it's up or down. I hope it makes a significant move from now going to the FOMC, because the FOMC press conference and, of course, the Bank of Japan press conference, that is going to dictate what money's going to do going into the quarter, or effectively going into the first quarter. That's going to help us understand if they're going to say, you know what, we're going to be favoring dollars, or you know what, we're going to get our money and tie it up with the Japanese yen because we think that right now it's time to start taking some profits off the table. We're going into the end of the year at all-time highs. We've got an interest rate cut coming, all right? And that's going to put it all down to around 4%, 4.25, depending on the basis points that they actually cut with. But they're looking for 25 basis point cut. Does that mean that's it now? Just get involved and start buying stocks? Well, look, fundamentally, you expect stocks, and economists said that you really want to be paying attention to stocks when they're around the 4% mark. Well, now that is above the 4% mark, and it's been traveling above 4%. So stocks have been going up. So once it hit 4%, and you've witnessed that, then, of course, assets have been appreciating. But you can see now the yields are climbing up, which can be a bit of a problem for the tech market as such. Going into the bonds market, you can see that the bonds are going down, and then you can see that the dollar dominance seems to be looking like it wants to try and climb back up again. Going into the euro, given that they are now projected that their economy is going to slow, the German economy is going to produce a lower economic output if these tariffs come into play. That's going to be a problem for the euro. So investors are now in line with this gold situation. It just keeps on coming down. So investors aren't seeking the safety of gold. But with inflation coming into play, there could be the prospect that they think interest rates are going to stay higher for longer, which will mean now investors are going to think, okay, then if interest rates are going to stay higher for longer, I may as well go and put my money in the dollar, which explains why dollars going up and gold is coming down, okay? So take that into consideration when you're looking at those sort of plays. Now, let me explain something to you. You might have seen something going off across the board, and this is unbelievable. Solana meme coin Peanut surges 20% on Coinbase listing news. Now, what on earth is going on with Coinbase? Before the SEC and before Trump was going in for presidency, Coinbase would be deemed as the hierarchy of crypto in the stock market. You know, there was a lot of scrutiny for Coinbase, so they always want to be seen as doing the right thing. But I had this conversation with Mike this morning. Is this going to be the start of the meme coin rally, or is this going to be the end of the meme coin rally? Because if you go and look at any meme coins like Shiba Inu, whenever that got listed, look at the volumes on there, look at the price action on there. Nothing much has happened. All right. Now, for me, in my mind, Coinbase is looking at it from the perspective of a $1.5 billion trading volume. Okay. What was it beforehand? You know? They're making money on the back of these transaction fees. So they think, you know what, we might as well just offer it to people because we know most people are going to be on Coinbase, so give them the opportunity to trade it. right? We're going to earn off the back of those transactions. They don't care about the coin, I don't think. Look, what utility does this coin have? No disrespect or any discredit to my guy Peanut. But what utility? What's the tokenomics? Well, there is tokenomics. $1.5 billion worth of trading volume. So that means that you've got other coins that could effectively get listed, and this is just going to get people to trade on Coinbase rather than sticking over at Solana. But guess what? The most of the players in Coinbase are going to be spot players. They're going to be just holding it and hoping that they're going to get the same success. Solana traders, they ain't going to be going to buy this coin on Coinbase. You know how expensive it is. Especially for the sniper guys, like, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to get smacked with fees. They can't do that. So Coinbase doing this is great for the retail guy, but for me, I don't know, man. It could be the start of meme coins. It could be the end. What do you think? You might get excited, but if you're going to Coinbase, you want to be selling, and it already went up 20%. So if no one sold anything on Peanut, then you're going to be eating peanuts, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's just quickly get into a little bit of price action, understand what's going on across the board. So, what we can see right now, best daily performers are Fartcoin. Fartcoin was up 20%. About 20 minutes before I did this live. Now it's down. So you can see the problem with meme coins. Grass is up and Giga Chad 5.7. Just pretty dead coins in my opinion. Meme coins, any coin outside of Bitcoin is a meme coin, but XYO was up there, worst daily performers, and Bitcoin is down as the worst daily performers. Quickly going over into other assets as well. Let's just go down here. Altcoin season, I mean, not really happening yet, even though people are screaming for it right now. Having a look at what's going on with other coins across the board. By market cap, seems like we don't really have anyone sticking out, but I'm seeing Chainlink. And of course, I've got Crow. Crow's doing numbers, man. Crow is going to be doing some very interesting numbers soon. So at 20 cents. And it's doing all right, you know, especially with its roadmap coming into play. So I'll be paying close attention to Crow. I mean, Solana, BNB, and Dogecoin are up there as such. But for me, it's always going to be Bitcoin on what we can expect from that. So looking at Bitcoin's price action right now, we can see it's not really doing too much. The market hasn't opened just yet. And effectively, we've got an Asian session sweep to the highs, going into the daily open itself to have a look at where we are in the daily chart. Sorry, we are still trading above the 5 EMA, and this is very important that Bitcoin sustains this area right now. It really needs to hold this candle and stay above the 5 EMA so that we could go on the assumption that as we go into the weekend, we see Bitcoin's price trying to climb. But if we do have a day that I think we're going to have, they might compromise certain levels on Bitcoin. Whereas, as I said to you all before, for a holder, you are working this range, okay? This is your range right now. Your buying and selling of Bitcoin is working between, effectively, just around about, 15 grand range, okay? And by the 20-20-20-40 method itself, you can take advantage of these sort of ranges, a 15 grand range, which means that you have to have the commitment and say, right, if I take a spot buy and Bitcoin's price increases by $1,500, is that enough for me to be satisfied with the return? Get rid of it, get back into it, or close the trade, get back in and out. Play the spot game, however you want to play it. I know when it comes to actual Bitcoin holders, it puts them in a little bit of a sticky situation, okay? Because you can't get rid of certain fees and what have you. Taxes and whatnot. So for those guys, just a case of when to buy. I would only be buying Bitcoin on days that it's negative, okay? Because once the final daily candle close finishes. So if you've got, hypothetically, if you've got a negative day today on Bitcoin, right? And this candlestick closes down at 98, for example, holders of Bitcoin will come to the chart and say, okay, for what freedom do I have with Bitcoin right now? In other words, if this candlestick closes negatively today, right, and it comes down to 98,000, hypothetically right now, it's not FUD. I'm not trying to scare you or anything. This is, and if you're getting scared when someone says if Bitcoin goes down, please remove yourself from trading because you will experience some very interesting hardships and you will get slapped about. This game is not for the get-rich-quick adventurer, okay? It's not for the mentally lazy. It's the game of speculation is hard, okay? And that's Jesse Livermore, not me, right? Don't come in this game to get rich quick. You will lose it quick, okay? Hypothetically, if Bitcoin were to come down to 98,000 and you are a holder of Bitcoin to question whether or not you should buy it, when that candlestick hits, for example, 98 and the daily close shows 98,000, that's when you turn around and say to yourself, okay, how likely could Bitcoin go down further? So then if you have yourself $10,000 that you want to commit, you commit 20% of those $10,000 at the close of the daily candle. So if you can assume it's going to be trading lower, 1 hour before the final day's close, you're making a purchase, 20%. The next 20% is giving it leniency just in case it decides to come down a little lower at the start of the next candle. Wait for that candlestick to close. So wait till the last hour of that trading day to decide if you should buy or not. If that candlestick closes lower again, buy at the lows. Wait. The next candlestick itself, if that closes positive and it nets you a return on the previous 20%, okay, then you're in a position to either take a profit or hold until you see Bitcoin trying to continue its move upwards. And you're doing it on the presumption that you're going to be loading up Bitcoin, improve your average entry. I don't know, because I'm just generalizing right now, okay? So just make sure that you're fully aware of the day's close. That's going to make life easier for you. When you come to the chart right now, it's halfway through the day. The day ain't even started yet. You got look, how long we got? You got 9 hours and 38 minutes to make a decision. You're making it now? Nah, man. Wait for the daily close. And I believe that if holders of Bitcoin waited until the daily candle close before they decide to buy Bitcoin, I genuinely believe that you would improve your average cost by waiting for that to happen, because you'll then say, well, I think it could actually go down a bit lower. I'm not going to purchase today. I'm going to wait for the next day's candle, because your time frame, technically, you have none. You really don't, because you're of the expectation Bitcoin's going to keep going up. Why are you even looking for a discount? Doesn't matter, does it? Just buy it. That's how some of them are. But there are some guys that aren't like that, that have a strategy that say, if I can exploit $5,000 move on Bitcoin, I'm happy with that, you know? So that's my logic right there. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Questions. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions for me before the market opens? Meme coins have a utility. They are fun, risky, highly volatile. If the luck hits you, the money will come so quickly that your head's going to spin like a twister. Yep, I agree with that utility, okay? But the problem is people put too much into the meme coin. That's the problem. Keep it fun, all right? Because you've only focused on one aspect of it, the payday. And that's what people are coming into with it already. People, what about the negative outlook to meme coins? That is fundamentally still a utility. You can lose so much money. You can, well, you can do crazy things, you know? Just be careful, man. Like, what do you define as a utility? Like, I mean, XRP has a questionable utility now, doesn't it? One of those. Oh, nice question. I've seen you before. What's your predictions with MicroStrategy? So when MicroStrategy gets listed on the NASDAQ, okay, they're going to create an influx of around $2.5 billion. Guess what? MicroStrategy is going to buy Bitcoin with that money. MicroStrategy will be coming back up to around the $600 mark, okay, or the $534. I expect them to come back to that, okay? Even looking at the options data itself, we're just quickly going over to options to see where we are with what's going on over there, to see if anyone has been selling. Got quite a few SPY sell calls right now. But I want to look at the options volume, unusual trades going into the close of yesterday. So there was big sell calls coming into play on Google to the sum of 2.4 million and 2.3 million. But I'm not really seeing anything. Tesla sell calls. Don't know why they're shorting Tesla, man. This thing's gone crazy. But I've not seen anyone do any sells on MicroStrategy. Google coming into play. We've got a big SPY sell call right there at 6 million. but I'm not really seeing anything for MicroStrategy. But my projection on MicroStrategy is pretty simple, okay? When people come away from the hype of this madness, a MicroStrategy will correct because MicroStrategy is not the market, all right? So if China actually manages to succeed at this anti-monopoly story with NVIDIA, okay, that could actually have an impact on NVIDIA, which will naturally bring the markets down, which will naturally bring crypto down, which will naturally bring MicroStrategy down. But my people in MicroStrategy are currently playing the convertible bonds game, okay? They're very close to realizing a return. It only needs to go to $629 if they bought one of those convertible bonds. That's what one of the requirements were. So they're not too far away from it, but I do believe the listing of the MicroStrategy will send it up, okay? And they're looking to raise around 2.5 billion on that listing principle, okay? Wow, what a weird story there. Tino, I really want to know what I get with platinum, and is it good for me to know nothing except for W formation, your course, Sparagalore file. All right, listen, if you are going to consider joining the platinum membership, okay, that will be the Traders Reality membership itself. The first thing that you really want to do, guys, is you want to just take this course, okay? The course is free of charge. Take it. So you go to Traders Reality website, which I'll bring it to you right now for anyone that doesn't know and you are new to the channel, just so that you're fully aware of what you're playing with right now, okay? So look at this. This is the website. Go to this part here where it says courses. You don't know anything about the hybrid system. Come and do this course right here. This one, breaking down the hybrid system. Do it. It's an hour. You've blessed me with your time for 26 minutes, okay? A few more minutes more, you've done the course, okay? Do it. It shows you everything about the hybrid system that you need to know at an entry level, okay? Then if you consider joining the membership itself and become a platinum member, that's where you'll get trade setups every single day, okay? From Monday through to Friday. Then the weekend, I also do projections over there, but I break down certain strategies, talk about trades that I've done in the past, and answer questions that people have on the hybrid system. The benefit of the actual membership itself is the access to the Discord, okay? But it's the community in there that are talking about trading. You've got serious traders in there, guys who know the hybrid system inside out, and they're throwing ideas to each other during every single moment in this market, okay? So that's the benefit that you get. Obviously, you get the 5+ trade setups per week across 6 asset classes, the Euro, the NASDAQ, gold, oil, Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum. That's what you get with that, okay? So get involved in that bad boy and try it out for yourself, all right? Cool. Any other questions? It's in the description, that thing. For the website. Tino, what are your thoughts on US 30? Do you trade it? Thank you, bro. No, I don't trade the US 30, to be fair. I don't trade the US 30. But I'll tell you one thing that you can do. Look at the US 30 and the S&P at the same time. You'll tend to find that US 30 moves much quicker than the S&P, but usually the S&P follows the US 30. So that could be something that you could take into consideration when you are trading the US 30. All right? Let's have a look now at Bitcoin, where we are. Just quickly going into the open. We're in 2 minutes in, and I'll wait for that. Any other questions? When moon? Great question. It genuinely is a valid question, when moon. Teach you in Spanish. Yeah, look, Mike gets hundreds of messages, so please don't think he's ignoring you at all. But to teach Spanish, wow. I mean, yeah, that'll be something that we could do. Exocharts, you mentioned the other day that the market has a memory. I was looking at the DOM and it inverted the colors, but I cannot replicate the example you showed. So you are effectively talking about this. So here is these are the clusters, okay? So when you pull up a candlestick, right, go to the settings right here, go to the cluster and change this, flip it round. So where it's negative, turn it to green, and where it's positive, turn it to red, okay? But the way you look at it is, you've got to remember, when it's red up there, that's telling you people are selling right now. They're selling into retail. But if you had it in the normal colors, it would be green. You'd be looking for buys, okay? So I switched the psychology of the candlestick to inform me of, how likely price is going to move from one point to the next based on people's interest. Okay. You've got price going up right now. You've got open interest coming into play. So price is rising. Open interest is rising. People are buying. But I ain't seen the delta in terms of buying to justify that logic. Okay. So then that tells me, looking at the orders, I can see 1.3, 1.4, 508, 693. Then I've got a climatic one, 1.5. Or 994. So I can see that there are buyers trapped at this top range right here, and it's pulled back ever so slightly. So the idea is to make the assumption that if they're really trapped up there, price in principle will start coming down. All the guys that have borrowed their money from this point right here are effectively going to pay the price for being in the high leverage longs, okay? And then the market will reset those longs, come down and test a certain area, and then reset and start the whole game again. And you've got to try and exploit those instances when you're using exo charts, or whether you're using the CoinAnk, whether you're using the hybrid system, okay? That's what you're looking to try and achieve when you're trading the hybrid system, okay? Cool. Tino, how likely do you think Japan will increase interest rates, and what would the market look like if Japan increased the US and the US cut rates? The market will go into a little bit of a turmoil if Japan if Japan increased the interest rates. It really will, because we know that they're borrowing yen because it's now cheaper to borrow yen. But if the prospect of them increasing price later on, that's going to force investors to do what? Get rid of the dollar risk that they've got. Stock market is at all-time highs. So they'll start selling their stocks. From selling their stocks, they'll go into dollars. From the dollars, they'll then go back and return the Japanese yen that they had borrowed in the first place, because it's expensive to hold. There's about $6 trillion now locked up in the carry trade. That's going to be a bloody expensive cost for these market makers if they're borrowing, and these banks as well. Don't get twisted. Banks, they're playing the carry trade, Tina, if I had very small capital to trade crypto, like $100, what should I do? Start scalping intraday, or what would be the best? I'd aim to not make money. I'd aim to execute. Master execution, because then if you've mastered your execution, it doesn't matter what money you put in. You'll know how to execute a process over a period of time, over a sample size of trades. Don't make your assumption that after 10 trades as a scalper, that you've now got the idea of how to scalp. No, you need to put thousands of trades in. Your goal is to not make money when you start trading. It sounds counterintuitive, but your goal is to not make money when you start trading. The goal is to master the execution. Get down an execution that you feel that you can utilize, or an edge in the market that will appear at a specific point in time. If you don't see it, don't trade it. And what you really got to work out is how patient can you be? Because if you find a way of trading, wait for that setup to occur. If it occurs, take the trade without hesitation. And then you got to do that over a sample size of trades. And then at the end of the sample size of trades, you turn around and you say, okay, I've done 100 trades. What's my balance at? Oh, it's at $71. Okay, cool. So you've lost you lost 30% of your capital as such. Okay. You haven't really lost anything. Let's be honest. All right. But you've now got a sample size of trades that you can improve on. You only lost 30%. That's fine when you think about it, but that's relative. But if you've got a sample size of trades, you know that you might need to tweak something, which can then increase that percentage of loss to 25%, and then 20%. And then you're breaking it down as you adjust your execution. Focus on the execution. That is all I have to say to you all on that. Okay. NASDAQ 22K on the way. You know what? It is something that can actually happen, to be fair. It is. I think NASDAQ will hit 22K either on FOMC, or they will front run price before FOMC. I mean, it doesn't look too far away, but I mean, we get a move like that today on the NASDAQ, right? From the daily open. It can be done by NASDAQ. It really can. They really can do it. There's nothing to say it can't, but it all depends on how the market is going to treat today because of FOMC next week. Okay? Cool. With that being said, gang, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be sure to like and subscribe on the way out. I demand it, ladies and gentlemen. It costs you nothing. But with that being said, have a great weekend. Trade safely, pay yourselves, and don't give market maker a discount. All right? Take care.